Coronation's in a few days. Over these kind of like these 3 or 4 days of downtime, is there anything you guys would like to do, or you think your characters would try to get done?
I'll go
Yeah.
first. I think Buga is going to take a couple rounds of doing some
Hmm.
surveillance at the keep, trying to just pay attention to the things that are being sent in at what times of day. W- Does it look like it's for the coronation? Does it look like it's a normal delivery? Trying to pick those out between the daily bustle of the city. Trying to plan a way in because I feel like the way in is going to be the hard part. The way out is either I'm going to get out or I'm not. So,
I'm
um,
either gonna make it or
trying
I'm
to plan.
not. You know.
I'm either I'm going to have a long, fulfilling life, or my story ends in my childhood home. But I am going
God.
to spend it. Whoa,
Full
we can be
circle.
both. We can be both funny and morbid on this
Honestly, fair.
on this
Abundantly
Fair.
morbid.
on this in this campaign. So going back and forth on like different ends and entrances of the keep to try to see which kind of plan which way would be my best entrance. All the while probably debating in my head if this is even worth it. As I'm scratching notes down in a notebook about times of days and number of personnel and what some of this cargo looks like getting in, I'm also thinking if the ends really do justify the means. And then I get distracted by the smell of food, and I realize that I'm hungry and I haven't eaten in 2 days. So I'm gonna go find some
Yeah.
food as well.
Yeah. As you're doing that, go ahead and roll investigation, but go ahead and do it with advantage. If you're gonna be taking like the
Mm,
time and like to kind of be seeing kind
yeah.
of like the ins and outs as like carts and stuff are going in.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm like also trying to be as nonchalant as possible,
Yeah.
making visits to different people around the
Yeah.
keep because they all need a reason to see a buddy. Oh no. Okay, that's a 10 to start.
Okay.
A 15.
15. Cool. It's not until like the third day. So it's like you start getting nervous because as you
Mm,
are getting close to the coronation, at this point, you're like a day and a half out. You start getting really nervous. And then on that third day, you start looking and you notice the same dwarven woman, very like kind of like scraggly little beard she got going on. She
mm,
has like two horses that are leading the cart. And this is like the third time that you've noticed her. And so you're not exactly sure what kind of product that she has in there. But by that third
mm,
day, you notice that the guards have noticed her and
mm.
then are kind of just like, all right, well, come on in. And then she doesn't stop as much at the line as like other people have been.
And it is at this exact moment I am much less nervous and realize that I haven't eaten in 2 days. So I I hurry to go get some food and try to come back and catch her on her way out so I can possibly follow her home or back to wherever she's coming
Yeah,
from.
yeah, and I'll say even with the 15, you're not like super set on the exact like timing on things, but in general, she's typically in there for about like an hour or so, and then she makes her way out. After that hour
Nice.
passes, go ahead and you said you're gonna follow.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
Oh baby.
This is my time to
Come
shine.
on. 19.
19, beautiful. You are shadows, not pierced shadows, but as you are walking, you're able to like trail, and you also respectfully do this for a living. And so as you are following close behind her, you are able to get close enough that you're like, okay, like I won't lose track of her. And you go to like the western part of town. She's going for maybe 20 minutes or so. And she finally starts to pull into this. It looks like a home, but you can tell like on the outside some construction has been done, added into the home. And it looks like that's where she's putting the cart that she's riding.
Mm. Okay. It's her home and her business.
Mhm.
It's her cart. Can I peek through the windows and see kind of what she's been bringing in?
Yeah, if you want, if you want, you can wait a second. Do you want to peek through, or do you want to wait for her to like get out and then?
Oh, so it looks like this is just the place she leaves her cart.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to wait.
Cool. Yeah, you wait. It's like an uncomfortable like 5 or 10 minutes as you're awkwardly like waiting across the street and just kind of like looking but not
Hmm.
looking, and then you notice that she ends up putting a padlock on, and
Hmm.
then she walks over to like a house, two houses over, and then goes in.
2 houses over. Okay. I'm going to walk over as she's leaving and This is gonna sound so creepy. Please bear with me. I'm going to I'm gonna try to I'm a cat. I'm going to try to smell her as she's walking by
Okay.
to see if I can catch a hint of what it is she does.
Go ahead and give me perception or investigation.
Okay. I swear I'm not this creepy. That's an 18 perception.
18 perception. You smell a lot of soaps, almost like perfumes and poultices. Like you notice
Mhm,
a lot of herbal smells.
mhm. So it sounds like everybody in the keep showers every day.
Crazy.
Crazy. Why would they waste their time showering?
Oh my
I
god.
Buka is disgusted. I'm gonna
With that, with that as well, though,
Yeah,
because you rolled an 18. There's
yeah.
a it's like it's so hard to pinpoint, but it's like a sharp, like acrid kind of smell like underneath it. But it's
Mm,
it's so much more overwhelming with the different herbs that you're smelling. But
mhm, mhm. I'm gonna sneak back over to the house where she left her cart, and I'm going to how busy is the street right now? Is it pretty busy?
not very busy.
Not very busy? Shoot. I almost want it to be more busy so people wouldn't pay attention to me. I'm gonna try to peek through if there's any windows on the front.
Through the front there isn't, but if you once like
Mhm.
you kind of glance over down the side, you do notice like some smaller windows.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my way that way, and I need to catch a look or maybe catch a better smell at what's going on in this place.
Yeah. Do you just kind of like circle around, or you're gonna try to get in?
I'm going to I'm gonna circle around and see if I can smell that same smell again.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
Oh, come on, buddies. Oh, there we go. I should just roll for smells this entire game. Natural 20.
Natural
24.
natural 20. As you start kind of like you're like being inconspicuous as you're like walking around trying to like not, draw a lot of attention to yourself. You don't really smell it as much as you're walking around. And then
Mhm,
and again, even the first time you smelled it was like so subtle. It was like very sharp and then you just didn't smell it again. As you start walking back towards the front where the actual doors that open up
mhm.
are, you like smell it again.
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I am going to pick this dang padlock.
Go for it. Roll me sleight of hand plus your proficiency
Sleight of hand plus proficiency.
or plus dex, I think it is.
Okay. Okay.
Or does he have like Steve's tools?
No,
No.
So just sleight of hand.
he's not a
Your
rogue. He's
claws.
not a rogue.
I'm not. Listen, what am I? Who knows? Join us next week and maybe find out. Sleight, sleight of hand. You got it. No bonus other than what I've got there. That's a 24.
24. Beautiful. Yeah, it's so quick. It's like genuinely like just like a very simple padlock. And then you look back, you don't see anyone close by, and you just quickly unlock it. You're able to take the
Mhm.
padlock off, and then you're able to slip inside and you close the door behind you.
Yeah, I think I've gotten so used to using one of my claws
Yeah,
that I like the rake and pull method. I've got it dialed.
love it.
Okay.
You go in and you see hay as like two of the horses like they look up and then they go back to just eating their hay. And like you see this
Mhm,
cart, and again, like the actual room that it's in is not that large.
mhm,
It's enough to like, fit the horses, some food. It looks like wrapped up in bundled like supplies to like the left hand side and like the cart.
mhm.
And so
Yeah, I'm gonna go and smell the supplies first.
yeah, you go and you just notice for this one, no roll. As you are like,
Mhm,
opening it up, it just smells like lavender,
mhm,
sandalwood, like a lot of just like very like fresh smelling things that would be used either in soaps or perfumes or incense of some kind.
mhm. I think I'm gonna make my way over to the cart. Oh no, what's in this cart? I'm gonna like peek in through the
Go ahead
side.
and roll a perception check.
Okay, come on, babies. Don't mess with me now. That is a dirty 20. Come
Dirty
on.
20. As you
Give it to
look,
me.
you're looking inside, and then you notice some they seem to like fallen out of the bags almost.
Mhm,
Sticks of incense, kind of
mhm,
like some are like just rolled about everywhere. And as
mhm,
you smell it, You smell whatever that's incense is, as well as like some of the other stuff that seems to be in the bags. And
Mhm.
even when you're feeling around the bags, you could like feel bars of soap and things like that. And then you look inside, and then with a dirty 20, you catch that
The
smell.
dirtiest 20 dog.
Dirtiest of 20s. You don't smell anything with this one, but you
Mhm.
just notice this like fine like black powder. It almost looks like from like the incense. It almost looks like the ash or something that has like fallen off. But
Gosh dang it. Okay. Sweet. And I feel like I'm just happy with knowing that that's where the terrible smell is coming from.
mhm.
I think I'm like, okay. So we have the supplies on the side. Looks like they're bringing in incense and these soaps. Maybe people like to smell bad while they shower. Who knows? I'm gonna look around the rest of this hut to try to see if there's another way that I could possibly sneak in for tomorrow.
As you look where the windows were, like, on the side,
Mhm,
from the inside, it looks like it's a lot there are, like, latches on them that from
mhm.
the outside, maybe you wouldn't have been able to reach, but
Yeah.
as you look, there's one, like, kind of that's on the far end closer where like, the horses are, that
Mhm.
you feel you could just unlatch, and then so if at a later time you wanted
Mm,
to, it would be unlocked ready for you.
perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Unlatch the door. I'm gonna walk by the horsies and give them a little pat on their shoulders,
You see
and
they're like,
let
whatever
they
horses
do a little
do.
horsey shuffle. What do horses do, Val?
Shimmy. They shimmy.
The
They
horses
shimmy.
shimmy.
The horses are
Shimmied with
shimmying.
glee.
Yeah. All the horses filled the streets and shimmied with glee. Uh, and I'm going to let them smell me.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a nose. They got a nose. We both got to nose each other, you know?
Hey, I love it.
I'm gonna let them smell me, kind of get familiar with me. I'm gonna feed them some hay, and hopefully they're happy.
Hey.
Maybe they shimmy. They're so happy that they pee a little bit, and I'm gonna sneak my way back out of the barn.
Very cool. Yeah. You spend a few minutes just kind of getting like familiarized with them and having them get familiarized with like you and your scent. And then after that, you go and then you put the padlock back on and then you head out.
Perfect. And I throw my hood back on, and I walk the streets. A huge sigh of relief, honestly, a weight lifted off my shoulders, knowing that this might be my way in,
Yeah.
and then instant dread because I don't know how to get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And when you start thinking about kind of like the time frame as well, typically it's
mhm,
because this is you, typically the time that you'd be going into your shift is the time that they
mhm,
are going into the castle. So it's like really
yeah,
early in the morning.
yeah. I gotta get Eula to cover my shift somehow.
Anything else you'd like to do before Coronation Day?
I think Val would do everything in her power to stay out of the home just to avoid her parents and just kind of see the sights and enjoy the celebration away.
Yeah. Do you think that Val would be going to any place in particular or just trying to explore the city?
Explore and then see who she could bump into, perhaps.
Very cool. As you exit out, go ahead and just roll me a d20.
Okay. An 8.
An 8. It takes you a long time to finally end up meeting up with anybody. And so obviously if you see like Antonio, like the kebab man, but as you kind of start walking around, you kind of aren't like really thinking too much as you're kind of just taking in the sights and looking at a city that looks very similar but somehow also very different. You finally make your way to the western part of town and you see this massive courtyard where again there are also like lots of people out and about, but you're also in the part of town where all of like the main churches and temples are. And you see a temple to Pelor that you probably haven't been to in 5 years. But as you make your way over there, you see a familiar, a little bit more bearded at this point, this like young human. You see Brother Davin, who seems to be having a conversation with this kind of like older like, human woman, and he puts his like arm on her shoulder, like he like bows his head a little bit, and you see this magical glow, and then he just like squeezes her and then leaves her to her prayers. You see he's just kind of like attending to the church.
And I approach him. I would like to approach him.
Yeah, of course. You go up. I think Val looks different, but has like that elvish quality of also kind of staying young forever. And as you start walking over, you see he turns around and almost like that programmed answer when you've like said the same thing like thousands upon thousands of times. He like looks over and just says, "Pelor's blessing on you."
Hey, long time no see.
Valentina?
Yes. What's up, brother?
How are you? And then he kind of goes like and gives you like a hug. Wait, when welcome back. I heard you had left.
Not by choice, but I did leave. I went to school or the academy up north.
Oh, welcome back. Well, yes, of course you're here for the coronation. Yes, of course. That's so exciting. How have you been? How I haven't even seen anybody else, but how's Piers? How's Buka?
I was hoping you would know. I haven't really seen them since I left. No one's really wrote. I got really busy, didn't write. So I was just hoping to bump into someone I know, but it's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. No, I haven't seen you guys since last we all went on our little adventure. But no, I haven't seen anybody. I just assumed that you were all just within the castle, but
Did you ever hear or did he come back, Brother Warren, from that time?
no, we never really found out.
You just let him disappear forever?
We sent search parties, but I also
Interesting.
wasn't very inclined to bring everyone back to the temple.
That's true, but he's like your bro. He's your bro. Shouldn't you? Isn't there like some brotherly code that you have to
No,
look out for
no,
whatever?
yes, but I mean, he also was new to the temple. Like he had just
Mm,
been stationed here, but yeah.
that's true. Well, I hope he's doing well. His symptoms were odd, for sure.
I mean, that whole situation was odd.
Yeah, I'm glad that you still remember it. I think fondly of those days and of that day. Although we did get in a lot of trouble, but yeah,
Yeah, of course.
same.
Yeah, of course. Why would I not remember? But
It was so long ago.
yeah, it's also very rarely do you see a giant tree underground. But I,
Neil.
Daniel, no, but no, that kind of, well, after everything that happened and after he had gone missing, I kind of wasn't really allowed to go anywhere. So I've kind of been here this whole time. But
That's fair.
yeah, but I've been able to tend to everyone here. And so, but no, I mean, it's been a very fruitful 5 years. I think a lot of people have been able to, I think, have some kind of relationship with divinity. And so I just think it's been a very powerful time. But anyways, enough.
You're true.
Yeah, but enough about me. What have you been up to? You said you were in school, or
I went to the academy up north where my parents met. Not by choice, of course, but when it's all right. Learning how to be prim and proper, obviously. So me, right?
yeah. Go ahead and roll an insight check.
An 18.
18. He has no clue what academy you're talking about.
Oh, that's okay. Plenneth Academy? Does that ring a bell?
No, but it sounds wonderful.
That's that's okay. That's okay. It is wonderful. It's nice to be away, and it's even better to come back and see how things have changed. You're doing some good work. Truly, the gods' work.
Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that you guys haven't all been able to stay in contact, but I mean, I'm sure you all had your reasons, and you've all been busy, and obviously Weaver's been incredibly busy, but
Truly.
that's exciting.
Maybe we can all meet up sometime this coronation weekend. Will you be around here, of course?
Yes, I'm kind of here, especially with the amount of people that are in town. But I think once, probably the day or two after coronation happen, it should kind of go back to a more normal pace, and then I might have a little bit more time if you're going to be in town.
It depends when they try to send me away again, but I can make time. Don't worry, I'll sneak away.
Beautiful, yeah, no, and then I'd love to see every. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I'll try to round them up, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, are
I
they
have my
are they back
ways.
in town or?
Great question. I have a feeling that they wouldn't miss Coronation since it is one of their childhood friends, but haven't seen them, haven't heard. You know as much as I know at this point.
Okay, so we know nothing. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yes.
Listen, no worries. It's just so nice that you came out to visit. Yeah, but no, we've just been there's so many people in from everywhere. So this last week has just been chaotic is an understatement, but it's been good. I think it's been good to see not just within, followers of Pelor, but some of the other major divinities, and just kind of seeing so many people just, from different cultures coming in, but having like same faith. So it's kind of nice having that kind of connection with people. But
Well, you continue doing Pelor's work, and then I awkwardly am like, Pelor be with you, and do like the peace sign, but kind of like salute at the same time and walk away.
yeah, he gives you like a thumbs up, like a very like thanks with you as well. You get to see Davin again. Anything else that you would like to do?
Other than stop in with Antonio, that's it.
You go back in and he sees you and just says, Val, yes, of course. Already, like, as he sees you like walking, just kind of like looks at the line, just like 1 second. And then as he's like finishing preparing, how many would you like?
Just one.
Just
I'm a
one?
little peckish, but not, yeah, just one.
You see like the person that's waiting in line is just like this like older woman. She's I'm next.
You gotta invest, baby.
One. He looks and just says, you have to invest. And then gives you like 2 kebabs and then just says, anyways, what were you getting? And goes back to
Can I give the other one, since I only asked for one, to the old lady? I'm like, here, on me.
she looks at it and she's like, I don't want no, thank you.
No, I insist.
I decline.
I leave it in front of her on the cart and just run away.
Anyways, she's like knocks it on the ground.
Rude.
She knocked the ground.
Pierce, anything you would like to do?
I will have gotten another drink. Kind of not necessarily tired of walking around, but kind of ready to just like relax a little bit more. So I want to try and find a spot where I can like see just a lot of what's going on.
Yeah. Are you trying to do this at that same night or like the days leading into?
Mhm. Same night, either the next night or the night after, when my mom wants to do like the coronation stuff. I would go do it with her.
Okay.
And just kind of do whatever she wants.
As you try to find like a spot, you find this art museum that's like nearby. That's like this like 3-story museum. And then you're able to find like a spot kind of like on the 3rd floor, and everything's just open during the coronation week, even like late into the night. And you're able to see at least part of like the city as a whole, as you see just random small like, fireworks, lights. You hear just shouting and screaming and laughing kind of from all parts. And then you kind of do that for the at least that first night. And then the very next night is when your mom wants to go into town. And then yeah, she's just walking around, and then she has like a kebab in her hand, and then she has like a basket, almost if she's going shopping. And at this point, she's gone to like different vendors, and there's different baked goods and small cakes. There's these like beautifully colorful, different like fruits and vegetables, different roots and stuff. And so she did like a full shopping spree in the time that like you guys have been out and about that next night. Is there anything, any place you'd like to go in particular?
Not during the coronation, but I was thinking probably not the day before, but 2 days before the coronation. I wanted to go, I guess, to the library. More or less, I want to try and like learn a little bit more about Namir's relationships with some of the other countries that I don't know about. Because like while I was in the military, I did travel a lot, so I think I'd know currently where we stand with a lot of places, but try to like broaden that to what I don't know.
Yeah, love it. Are you trying to do that? I think you would know that the best place for that would probably be in the actual castle itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I would.
Yeah, just because that's where most of the relations people that like are kind of like the movers and shakers of Numir, that's just realistically where they would be living.
Cool.
If you would like, because you still have access to that letter, you can meet up with Helena again if you would like.
Yeah, let's do that.
You kind of catch her a little bit before. We'll say it's like on that 3rd day. So this is like the day and a half before the coronation set to happen. So it's like during the day, and you see some of the doors are still closed, but you see that hers is open as well as 2 other ones. But at this point, you've only really had a conversation with
Helena.
with her. And then she sees you walk in and just says, Pierce, yes. Marcus, soup again. And then just hands over the bowl of soup.
Always the soup.
Always the soup. What can I help you with? Did you have more questions or?
I mean, yes, I guess technically, but not necessarily for you. I was actually curious if there was anything that would be accessible to me as far as maybe reading a little bit more of where we stand with some of the other countries relationship-wise. My time in the military, I've learned a lot about the places I've been, but there's also places I haven't. So,
yeah. No, I mean, we have kind of like official documents, so there's not really. I mean, relationships have changed obviously over time. So, I mean, within our library, we have some books that speak to old relationships or old monarchs or different kinds of governments that some of these places have had. But I can just answer the general question for you if you'd like, or
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the position that my father was in wasn't filled immediately because the need wasn't necessarily like it wasn't important to fill at the time because of the state of the world at the moment. Is there anything like specific that maybe took more of his time, or countries that we are either closer with and or in not a good place with?
I I mean, when your father was a lantern, he obviously was involved in a lot of kind of like meetings with some of these heads of states. But a lot of the business that we typically conduct with is either with Stakaria to the north, with Olxa to the east, and then Melibur to some capacity, you know. But I mean, when your father first took over the role, Woldarosina wasn't a nation yet, wasn't its own recognized nation yet,
Hmm.
which you had been there before, and it's like that middle kind of nation that Olxa and Tolosia have been fighting over. And so she's like, so I mean, that's new, but I mean, in general, we've stayed pretty friendly with almost everybody because at the end of the day, we are a good source of commerce for most places. Numir has been very fortunate. Part of our success as a nation has been with, we're great importers of steel and iron. We also, there's a large deposit of different gemstones and things like that as well. And so, like, it's always put Numir in a very fortunate financial situation. And so, but because of that, we're also just great importers and exporters with a lot of places as well. So we typically honestly end up okay. Like it hasn't always been the case, but once we've discovered a lot of the mines, we became kind of like a central hub for a lot of travel and a lot of imports. But
I mean, I guess that makes it that much more important that we stay on comfortable terms with as many countries as we can.
yeah. And obviously the state of the nations are always changing, and Olks and Tolosia were fighting each other and now are no longer, they're fighting each other, but they're also fighting an additional nation that has kind of sprouted in between them, literally and figuratively, but they still use us as a main source of like imports for materials. So
Mm.
I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, no, I think it does. I mean, like you said, we're not really in a state of any serious like conflict. So, which I mean, I knew to an extent being in the military, I knew that there was nothing drastic or extreme going on. But yeah, I mean, was there, I guess, really my last question, was there anything specific that happened recently that made, I guess, U5, the Lanterns, and or maybe it came from someone else that it became more apparent that you should fill the sixth position? Or was it just, it's been long enough, I think it would be best to fill it?
like
If that makes sense.
we just yeah, no, of course, we just felt that it was appropriate to fill that spot. Go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Come on. There we go. Got a 13.
13. Yeah, as she's sharing, she's like that, the position has kind of always been filled up. And so if anything, it's probably more odd that it hadn't been filled up. And so, and she just shares that like it's been just years at this point. We just felt that it was appropriate to fill it, especially with the coronation and just kind of starting up like new coronation with like all hands on deck.
Mm. Makes sense. Well, appreciate your time.
No, of course.
On my way out, would you mind if I stopped into my dad's old office?
Yeah, by all means. 1 second. And then you see she like digs into her desk and then she pulls out a key and just says, I'll unlock it for you. And as she walks you to the door, she doesn't open it, but she just unlocks it and just says, take all the time that you need. And she walks back into her office. And as she's like walking away, she's just day after tomorrow, don't forget.
I won't. I'll be there.
And then goes in her office. You step into this office. As you open it, dust kind of starts to like fall and settle as there is like a very like thin curtain, makes the room look very dim. But as you look, there are bookshelves to the side as well as like this big wooden desk, not quite as large or as ornate as Helena's is, but it's still size wise, it's just physically very large. It's just your dad's was very simple,
Yeah.
but he didn't really keep a lot of stuff, even from what you remember. But as you look at the top of like the desk, it's empty, and the bookshelf has some books and scrolls, but you see a lot of it has been taken out at this point.
Lots of empty space.
Mhm.
I think I'd open the curtains just to be able to kind of see a little bit better. Not really looking for anything specific, but just kind of going through the stuff on the desk, opening maybe the couple drawers, seeing if there's anything in there that like kind of piques my interest.
Yeah, of course. You open it up and just dust everywhere as you start to like cough just from like the amount of dust that just has started to hit you. But as you go and you're looking, you start pulling out. And again, most of the stuff is like fairly empty, or you could tell are, sheets of paper or scrolls were dropped at some point or were just left behind. Go ahead and roll an investigation check for me. Go ahead and do it with advantage.
Oh, got a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. As you are looking through the desk, there is like a part where you sit in the desk where you're kind of like just, touching the desk, kind of feeling like this is where your dad, same seat, same desk. And as you touch the top part of this like wooden desk, you feel like this snag like on your thumb, and you look down and it's almost like imperceptible. It's kind of like ingrained into the actual wood itself, but it's like a small like button, and you're able to click it open, and then there is like a small little drawer that kind of like opens up, and then you notice some like papers and stuff there.
Are the papers dusty?
Not as dusty. It seems like having them hidden drawer seems to have helped a little bit with that.
Pierce's first thought, because it's less dusty, it probably means that, or at least there's a good chance that this may have not have been open since my dad passed. So I'm gonna take it all out. Is the chair still there?
Yeah, you're sitting at the chair at this
Or
point.
the desk? Oh, okay, great. I'm gonna pull it all out and kind of, if there was anything else on the desk, like immediately in front of the chair, kind of clear it away so I can kind of go through and just glance at the stuff that I found.
Yeah, you go, and as you start going through it, some of it is just like old reports from different movements happening in like Ulxa and Wildrosina, different kind of like not military coups, but kind of movement of the military, whether it's Numerian military, Ulxan military, things like that. So some of it just looks like very formal reports. You also notice it's a little bit smaller than the other sheets of paper. It doesn't look like it's part of the formal documents, quote unquote. It just seems to be like a sheet of paper. But there is this, it looks like a letter to somebody. Like it's spaced out in a way that it almost looks like name, the body of the message, sincerely, but it's in a language you don't understand.
Oh. Signature at the end for like who wrote it. Is it my dad's? Do I recognize that?
So I'll say this, you recognize his handwriting, you don't recognize the name. So as you look at it, you can't tell what the name is because it's in the language it's that you are unfamiliar with.
But it does look like my dad wrote it.
It is your dad's handwriting though. Like you've known your dad long enough that you would know at least his handwriting.
Interesting. I mean, I recognize it as not something I can read, but do I recognize it enough at all to like know what language it is? I just don't know it.
Go ahead and roll an intelligence check for me. Just a flat intelligence check.
11.
11. It looks dwarvish.
I mean, there's not a whole lot else I can do with it. I'd like to keep it.
Yeah, you kind of like fold it up a little bit, and as you start like kind of moving the papers around, and again everything else kind of like looks just like reports. This seemed kind of like the odd thing out. As you go and are putting the papers back, a small little image falls to the ground.
I think it's like I'm putting like the rest of it back into it and like trying to figure out how to re-seal it. I guess.
Yeah, it's like a couple like awkward like okay now we're good.
Yeah, but like as I was doing that and I see it drop, it takes a couple extra because I'm distracted by what fell, and then I finally get it and then pick up the image that I saw.
Beautiful. You see an old picture of, it's like this arcane made like image. It literally just looks like a black and white photograph almost, but it's your parents looking a little bit younger as they're holding a small baby.
I think like as I picked it up, I was like still sitting in the chair and like kind of leaning over to grab it. As I look at it, I kind of have like a moment of like, I'm good. I can leave now. So like I don't even think twice about looking at anything else. I just like take the photo and put it in like the inside of my jacket and just kind of walk out almost relieved, I guess is the best word I can think of.
Yeah, love that. You take the photo and you take that note, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. You walk out, you close the door behind you. You have a little bit more, some mystery in your hands. This next day is the day of the coronation. You guys know the coronation's happening at midday. And so, but this is like early in the morning. What are you guys trying to do? I'll say like you guys can all collectively choose the time you wake up, but this is like that early pre-dawn light.
I think Buka's already awake.
Yeah.
I don't
Trying,
know when
yeah.
Vel's people would wake her up whenever her parents say that she needs to be.
Yeah, I'll say
People would wake her up.
I guess we'll work ourselves
Yeah.
in like reverse chronological order for this one. Val will probably be the
Perfect.
last one awake. But even then, you'd probably be up at like 7 or 8.
Not by choice.
Not by choice, but still early enough because as they start to like get you ready. But yeah, I'll say it's 7 o'clock by the time like they wake you up, just because you're gonna go have breakfast and then they're gonna get you ready for the day. And
Yeah.
then Pierce, what time do you think Pierce will be waking up?
I feel like he's an early bird.
Pierce seems like a 6 o'clock. Like, all right, bro, we got to do a fasted cardio sesh real quick, and then
Himbo.
true
Let's
himbo
go.
energy.
Yeah, I think I'd be up pretty early. I feel like Pierce would know what time his mom gets up regularly, because I feel like she'd be a pretty regular, like same time every day, but not necessarily early. So I want to get up early enough that I want to go on a run.
Yeah.
Just to like start my morning after drinking a little bit of water, and then like getting back around when like my mom would be getting up to make breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, as you are going like on your run, you already see people out and about, like all like you can tell they've been up for like hours at this point. As people are moving around and as you know that there's gonna be different like tables are being set up everywhere. There's specifically also in this like top part, it's you're still in that second tier, but where you are and like where your room is, you can kind of see that movement is starting to happen, as well as the coronation is going to happen specifically going into like main tower. And so you can already see like chairs and different canopies and things like that are being set up for people to have like a front row seat to the coronation.
Cool.
Go on a run, and then you come back as your mom is making just like a cup of coffee, and breakfast is kind of getting set up. For Buka, this is early.
Early. I wake up earlier than Pierce. I go for a longer run, and I have 2 glass. No, I'm just joking. I'm up early mostly because it's the normal time that I wake up for shift. I think because
Or it's not even you waking up; it's just you.
it's not. I'm just awake,
Yeah.
ready for shift, and I go and I try to bribe the night shift bartender to stay through half of my shift, because I sent a little birdie to go tell Eula, hey, I'm gonna need you exactly half of my shift earlier. I'm trying to piece. I'm getting my.
You're getting your shifts covered. Yeah, 100%.
I'm getting my shifts covered. I can't just leave this place unattended. If you'd like me to roll for whether or not they cover me,
If you're willing to drop a silver, I'm cool with it.
I can't afford to drop none of that silver. Can I instead persuade
Yeah,
somebody to stay for me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, you have good relationship with the people you work with.
Yeah, I do. I have a great relationship.
No, you don't.
That's a 14.
14's good. Yeah, I'll say 14.
Okay, perfect. Sick. Okay, my shift is covered. My job is safe. Perfect. I'm going to sneak out of my apartment with my. Oh man, I haven't brought my weapons on a job in a while. I'm gonna bring my weapons with me.
Love it.
I'm going into enemy territory. It feels like, at least that's what I have to keep telling myself in my head as I sneak back towards the barn. I'm gonna watch the barn for a couple of minutes, make sure nobody's in there, and then I'm gonna sneak my way around to the back to where I left the window unlatched.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no rule necessary. You already set yourself up for success. And then you're tall enough that you are like you're on your tippy toes, and then
Mhm.
you're able to like open it up a little bit, and you are also tiny enough like that you're able to
Mhm.
just fully fit through the window. And the horses are still asleep, so you can tell they kind of are jostled awake a little bit. But once
Mhm.
they kind of smell you and then look at you, they kind of just go about going back to bed.
I shush the horses back to bed, and I'm going to sneak under the cart and try to spy out some hand and footholds, because Buka boulders on the weekends. So and he's gonna try to finagle a way to like get underneath this cart inconspicuously.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. Well, I mean, you tell me what you want to roll. Depends on kind of like what you're trying to do. You can either roll stealth, you can roll athletics, you can roll acrobatics. So you kind of have some options here.
I am trying to be sneaky. First and foremost, I'm trying to be sneaky. I'm trying not to be noticed by anybody coming into the barn, anybody loading the stuff. and hopefully I can be unnoticed getting into the castle or into the keep. So, come on, baby, no parachutes.
Mhm.
Can I instead use my smell to try to hide
Your
underneath this cart?
smell?
Yes, if I try to
The
do
suction of his
a
nose.
smell
What
roll,
did you
I will
get?
do better than the natural one I just rolled
Natural one.
for hiding underneath this. Do I break the cart?
You're able
Yeah.
to find like a spot, but I'll say that this I'll give you this. This is going to
Mhm.
affect a roll later on,
No, no,
and
no,
I will
no,
decide what that roll is.
no, no, no,
But
no,
with
no.
that, you were able to you finally find a position where you're not like falling off, but
Mhm.
it is so uncomfortable.
I'm just so uncomfy.
Yeah.
That's okay. And then I stay there for hours while I wait for these.
Yeah. So
No,
you literally wait for like because you're unsure. And like as you put
yeah.
like one like you'll be in a spot and you put kind of like one foot down to kind of like relieve some of that
Mhm.
pressure, you like hear
Yeah.
movement outside and you go back. And then you realize it's not the driver of this cart. And so this goes back and forth for like a solid like hour and a half till
Oh
eventually you
no.
hear like the padlock unlock and the door opens and you hear a woman's voice and then a man's voice as they are like loading up bags into the cart itself, and they
Mhm.
pull it out, grab the horses and hitch them on, and then they start making their way through the town. So for another 20 to 30 minutes just to get to the castle wall. So at this point, you are feeling like your joints are on fire as you've kind of been in that same position for like 2 or 3 hours, just waiting.
No, yeah.
After like
I definitely did this the best way. This is the only way I could have done this, right?
hey,
There's no
it is the way.
this is the way.
This is the way.
Man.
But eventually you hear the sounds of like people out and about. It's still really early in the morning. At this point, it's probably like 7 o'clock. And there is a point where like the cart stops finally, and you hear the woman driver kind of like talking with someone, and then you hear like, yeah, open the gates. She's coming in, as they finally starts to move again, and you are brought into the castle walls, which you haven't stepped foot in almost 5 years.
Man, kill me now. This is the end of my journey. I'm so excited to be back in the castle. Strangely, I don't know why I'm excited because I know I'm there for not a good reason, but I can't help but feel the excitement of being back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The car rolls for another like 2 or 3 minutes because at this point you hadn't heard him but like yet, or at least like in the times you had seen them pulling in. You hear a man's voice, whoever was like helping like load up like the cart
Mhm.
itself, and just you hear the man's voice just say like, this is a lot, are we gonna? She's like, no, we'll get some help. Just come with me, we'll go grab somebody. And then they step away to go get some help with unloading the actual like bags and like soaps and things that are in the back.
Mhm.
And then you wait for a minute or two and you finally feel safe and you finally are able to like unhook yourself against like the wall and your feet like touch the ground.
Yep. From what I remember of being inside the keep and from what we rode by, do I know if there's any alleyways in my near vicinity?
You not where you are, but at this point like it's still
Mhm.
fairly dark. And as you
Mhm.
start looking around, I guess geographically where you are is you are close to, it's like the western part of like the castle itself, but you know
Mhm.
that there's a lot of like the horses are kept there, a lot of like livestock are kept there, and as well as
Mhm.
anytime like typically like products or mercantile goods, things like that are brought, they're typically brought through there. So you would have
Mhm.
to still get through like one or two different doors. But once you get past that, you know that there's like small alleyways and things inside.
Mhm. Perfect. I'm gonna make my way towards the livestock and commerce area because that is where I have been living in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sneak that way.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check for me.
Come on, don't fail me now. Oh, that's okay. 21.
21. Yeah, it's dark enough right now, and it's a point that it's not very well lit that they like you literally don't even see or hear anybody. Like there's not even like you're hiding from somebody at this point. It's like there's no one to hide from. So you're able to like stealth
Mhm.
in, and as you are kind of heading to like this doorway that you know will lead into some alleyways that you can kind of use the darkness to stealth a little bit more. And as Val's getting ready for her day to officially start and get dressed, and as Pierce, you're having breakfast, castle walls like shake. You guys just hear this